Hello, Havenites. I'm currently a playwright, if you're not aware. I've currently written about 5 plays so far, and I'm currently struggling with an in-person way of getting these particular plays showcased to each of you. More on this topic in a future video later. The play I recently wrote for a contest earlier this summer, which I'm dedicating this video to, is about intolerance and how we should all try and get along with each other. This play is titled Unwelcome Friendship. I initially wrote Unwelcome Friendship based around the fact that I was unfairly excluded from a role that I had wanted from this past summer's community play production in my hometown, titled The Prom. This is a Broadway play, by the way, about a girl who just wants to attend her own high school prom and can't because the school board wants to be selfish about heterosexual type same-sex relationships. Anyway, after hearing about this injustice, 4 self-centered Broadway actors all come down to the girl's hometown, and they attempt to help cheer her up overall, and overall attempt to help her get to the prom that she wants so desperately to get to with her girlfriend. This play, this Broadway play, my play, Unwelcome Friendship, is heavily based around, is also a current Netflix movie, which is one of my favorites on that platform. I had even memorized a special song borrowed from this particular Broadway show, The Prom, that I was going to use as the overall learning message for my show titled Unwelcome Friendship. This song that's so inspirational to me is called the Acceptance Song. And it is currently so inspirational to me that even after I had memorized it from earlier this summer, I now completely can't get it stuck out of my head. It's so ingrained in there that I find myself singing it all the time now, even at my current camp job. Um, I worked hard to memorize this script for the auditions when I was originally auditioning for the prom play in my hometown earlier this summer, and um, and I just wanted to. I mean, I just liked the song overall. Let's put it that way. The following is what I had used to prepare for auditions for the prom play earlier this summer. Flowers accept the rain and grow more beautiful. Babies accept their mother's breast so they can grow strong. I accept that I was born a handsome man. So join with me and sing this acceptance song. Let us accept one another. I know it's truly hard. We're sister and brother. It's what I learned at Juilliard. Bigotry's not big of me, and it's not big of you. Let's all work together to make rainbow dreams come true. Despite my play, titled Unwelcome Friendship, being heavily inspired by the Broadway play The Prom, the main character featured in my show, Unwelcome Friendship, started out as a character sketch for an ensemble role that I was a part of, and then that I had came up for myself when I was cast in the ensemble cast for a musical play production that I was a part of 10 years ago in 2014. That play production, which was another community play production in my hometown, was titled All Shook Up. And it was based around a Shakespeare play itself titled Twelfth Night, set to the roaring music of Elvis Presley during the 1950s. Now, how the character that I had originally created for myself, which was a nerdy character that I created and named Eugene to portray for All Shook Up 10 years ago, fits into the All Shook Up play universe that I had performed in, is that I had wrote this nerdy character named Eugene as a college guy just graduating from college, which at the time was also true for me because I was just graduating from college myself for the last time that year in 2014, who was just returning from college and trying to make some friends. I had originally wrote in my character sketch for Eugene that he was next en route to obtain a Tales from the Crypt comic book, since he, like me, is a fan of horror and Tales from the Crypt is one of his favorites series, as well as mine since childhood. He was going to travel via a bus to get this, since, like me, he didn't have his driving license or a car to drive. So this was how Eugene was going to meet the escaped convict character, based around Ed Gein, who's, I don't know if you're aware, Ed Gein was at the time a cannibalistic serial killer monster who would later grow up to be inspired by hit horror movies like Silence of the Lambs, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, another one of my favorite horror movies, and a bunch of others. Ed Gein was that much of a monster. I mean, in fact, to getting off tangent, Ed Gein, he, along the lines of Leatherface from Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Buffalo Bill from Silence of the Lambs, he would enjoy like digging up dead bodies and putting the bodies around the body parts around his house as different ornaments and furniture around his house. And that's who I was basing the convict character, who would have later become Eugene's friend, and I was going to call this character Ned. And everyone in town in my play was totally against this relationship between Eugene and Ned, and they were fearful of when Eugene and Ned started to become closer as friends. After the then director of All Shook Up 10 years ago had suddenly switched my scene so that my created character, Eugene, wasn't riding the bus anymore, I had to quickly rewrite my character sketch for Eugene so that he wasn't riding the bus anymore completely to get that Tales from the Crypt comic book that he so wanted. Instead, I wrote to have the bus break down shortly after takeoff, and this was how Eugene and another passenger got off the bus to investigate. And like I said, this was eventually be in my character sketch of how the character of Eugene had met Ned. When I was finally adapting the original character sketch of Eugene from All Shook Up that I had performed in 10 years ago to fit the Unwelcome Friendship play that I was recently and have now recently wrote, I decided to change the initial meetup yet again. I started the play just as Ned was busy trying to escape from jail, as joyous inmates were seen joyfully singing an Elvis Presley song titled Jailhouse Rock. 2 days later, we are introduced to Eugene in my play as he attempts and is nearly run over while attempting to cross the road by a guitar swinging, hot woman enthusiast, motorcycle riding roustabout named Chad. Upon arriving in the main setting for my play, which is a honky tonk cafe, Eugene is feeling glum that everyone is paying more attention to Chad's arrival and not his own. It's not until the town sheriff, named Sheriff Earl, and the mayor that he desperately loves arrive into town in the cafe with the official notice and wanted poster detailing Ned's recent sudden escape from jail that the customers of the cafe all begin to become alarmed and heavily afraid. Eugene, seeing his moment at last and being brave, attempts to sing a joyful song he learned in college, which is the acceptance song, to the group in an attempt to brighten their spirits. This doesn't go well at all at first. A teenage boy of 16 who I named Devin suddenly cuts Eugene off mid-song while he's trying to sing with his obnoxious rant that's angered against homophobia. This would later start an argument that lasts the remainder of my play, as Devin, Eugene, and two of the other employees of the cafe all become dramatically involved in the argument. Finally, as fists fly and one character is abruptly pushed and locked out of the cafe back door as punishment, where he is scared off screaming down the street and crying for his mama by a character finally making his grand entrance into town at last, that the main character was finally able to finish his inspirational song, which is again the acceptance song, to the other cafe customers at last, who finally understand through the complete song at last, sung to them joyfully, that the character that they were told to be so afraid of and fearful of was not one to be feared at all, and that their fear was one giant misunderstanding after all. My new play, Unwelcome Friendship, is not only about intolerance and how to get along with each other, but it's also a play based around the idea of second chances and how you should never ever judge a book by its cover. As I was writing Unwelcome Friendship, I was thinking not only about the prom, which is again also one of the best Netflix movies ever made, but also the part in Walt Disney's 102 Dalmatians movie from the early 2000s, where Cruella de Vil had briefly changed from Cruella to Ella, and she loved all dogs, and how one character from that movie was trying to tell the town that Cruella had changed before she abruptly changed back to evil once again in the middle and end of the film, and got her just dessert by the dogs overall, despite the town's fearful nature of Cruella's past. This ties into the fact that you shouldn't judge a book by its cover, and give people second chances that my new play revolves around, despite again being about intolerance and trying to get along with the others. Unwelcome Friendship is a great idea for a new play. I still don't understand why it was suddenly it became rejected for a public play reading this year, held in my hometown by the local community theater organization. How fucking unfair and biased can they get? I mean, I don't understand this. My play is complete. It has a beginning, middle, and an end. It's it's got a hero and a villain. What more does this bogus theater organization in my hometown not understand? Again, I plan to discuss more on this in a possible future video later. Stay tuned. In conclusion, I just want to say that like the several other plays that I have previously written over the years, and I have written a lot, um, only one of them has seen the light of day performance-wise, um, that being in fall of 2008. My very first play was titled The Fantasy About Finals, and that one saw the light of day in a student short presentation that I actually currently have a DVD of for my collection. Thank you, FLCC. Um, Getting back on tangent here, I'm very proud of having written Unwelcome Friendship, despite it recently becoming unfairly rejected by the bogus local theater organization in my hometown area. I'm so proud, in fact, that I'm currently in the process of soon writing a sequel to this play, thus continuing the story. The Unwelcome Friendship sequel details one of the cafe employees beginning college and later becoming the victim of bullying and hazing as she attempts to join a sorority. This story, as well as the escaped convict character Ned, suddenly turning from good to bad again, and two detectives trying to hunt him down in an attempt to prove that they were right about Ned all along to the town members that they claim were ultimately fooled by one character's heartwarming song to each of them at the end of the first Unwelcome Friendship play that I have written, make up the entire plot of my soon-to-be written sequel play, which I'm planning on calling Unwelcome Friendships. And I'm thinking like for the mashup, if you like to really make it simple, the plot line simple, think um the movie Mean Girls. I don't know if you've heard of that movie. Lindsay Lohan was in it. Meets Scream. It's a popular horror movie that Nev Campbell, David Arquette, Courtney Cox, and a whole bunch of other names are in. So so if you're thinking like in short terms again, my new play Unwelcome Friendships, think like in terms of like Mean Girls meets Scream of the late 1950s. Before I end this video for you, here is me again singing the acceptance song from the prom play that I had politely used for my new play that I wrote titled Unwelcome Friendship. Enjoy. The following is what I had used to prepare for auditions for the prom play earlier this summer. Flowers accept the rain and grow more beautiful. Babies accept their mother's breast so they can grow strong. I accept that I was born a handsome man. So join with me and sing this acceptance song. Let us accept one another. I know it's truly hard. We're sister and brother. It's what I learned at Juilliard. Bigotry's not big of me, and it's not big of you. Let's all work together to make rainbow dreams come true. And that's all I have to say about that. So until next time, Havenites, take care. Bye. H names rock. Like, subscribe, and come back for more.